Никакой спасенной сюжетной ветки.
Greetings. What business?
My lord, I managed to find a clue to the whereabouts of the bandits.
Excellent. Bernard already told me what's been happening, but I'd like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The whole story, or just the...
It's up to you what you...
One of the Neuhoff stable boys, a lad they called Ginger, fled from there and hid out with some charcoal burners. I have to say, there's a lot of them around. I never thought how many forges and ironworks they have to supply.
That's true, but keep to the point.
Oh, yes, sir. I had quite a job finding him. He was well hidden and with good reason. The bandits wanted to kill him because he recognised one of them.
Did he tell you what happened?
He said it wasn't one gang, but two. And one of them took fright when the slaughter started. Seems they were only interested in loot, so they quarrelled with the other lot. Then it came to a skirmish in the woods and one of them was killed. And the rest of them scattered.
And did you find out where they went?
All I know is one of them is from Ужице. I know enough about him to be able to track him down.
All right, but those cutthroats must know who he is too, right? And if they want to get revenge on him or silence him, you'd better hope they don't get to him before you. So drop everything and get on his trail. Find out what he knows and then report back to me. I'm going to our encampment at Merhayed to oversee the security of the region.
Yes, sir. Why choose Merhayed?
It's somewhat at the centre of events, isn't it? And what's more, there's another stud farm there.
Sir, do you think they're going to try the same thing again?
I shouldn't think so. Everyone will be on the alert now, but the secluded dwellings are more vulnerable. There are few people in them. They're scattered everywhere and we can't guard them all.
But the bandits won't find much silver in places like that.
There's always a groschen or two, some food and so on. Anyway, how much silver did they get from slaughtering those horses?
True. If they'd stolen them, they could have sold them. Those were fine animals.
Exactly. It's not about the silver. It's about something else.
But what?
Creating fear. Such great terror that you won't even squeak when they come to cut your throat. Never mind raise your hand against them. Fear that will root you to the spot, staring like a rabbit entranced by a stoat, waiting for the death blow to fall. Helpless to do anything about it.
I have some news about the investigation.
Good.
The trail leads to Ужице. I found out one of the bandits is from there, a fellow they call Любош.
I see. What else?
That's all I've found out so far, sir.
All right. Come back and report to me as soon as you learn anything new.
Так, Ужице.
There's nothing to it.
What is it?
You look like a and as it happened,
All right.
it's a and you could persuade
I've no time.
tall tales.
hope I can be of...
I'm looking for a fellow who lives here, but I don't know his name. Do you know anyone with a limp?
Aye, there is one fellow with a limp. Can't imagine what you want with the likes of him, but that's your affair. He lives in a cottage on the edge of the village, by the road to Neuhof.
Так, сейчас запишу. Охренеть. Так, не, только не давай не виснуть. Все-таки виснет, да? Что-то там много народу у него.
Move along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
That's what you call nothing to see. I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him. Sacre.
Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel.
Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
Another thing about... When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now. And nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
I hope I can be of help to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here.
I don't know nothing about it, but...
That man Lubosh who was murdered.
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all. Is there anything
Indeed there is. Just last night, Father Godwin was here, calling fire and brimstone down on old Gertrude.
Is there anything suspicious?
Nothing out of the...
I'm honoured that a knight such as you take...
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof.
Of course, ask...
That man Lubosh who was murdered.
He was a drunk who was always looking for a fight. Nobody liked him much. I wouldn't wish an end like that.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Well, now I think of it, I hadn't seen him around for a while. No idea where he...
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
Not a clue.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or...
He was a loner, he didn't even...
That's all.
God be with you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of...
I don't know nothing about...
That man Lubosh.
I didn't really know him.
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
Come to think of it, he wasn't... I was wondering what he was...
Do you know what Lubosh...
I was coming from the tavern. He looked like he was in a hurry.
Do you know any...
Not with anyone from...
That's all. Thank you.
God be with you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush...
Sir Hanush gives a job like that to a young fellow like you?
That man Lubosh who...
He was a strange one. Always drinking, bad-tempered. Lord knows...
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
I didn't see much of him lately. Not even...
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Noy...
I don't think he was home at all. Wait. Are you saying he...
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time...
I really don't know. As far as I...
That's all.
I hope I can be of...
I've come in the...
I don't know.
That man Lu...
I didn't really know.
Have you noticed...
Come to think... I...
Do you know what...
He looked...
Do you know... That's all.
God save you.
Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything? What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream. Judas? Looks like this is meant to be a warning. But for who? And why? Maybe the gang had a falling out. But a bandit who knows how to write isn't something you see every day. A bed. Nothing here. Nothing here.
God bless.
I see you know how to wield a sword, Father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practiced with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
A bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son, and one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can, because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
Here.
But I wasn't sure Betty would even want to sell, so I asked for a high price. And he says, that's fine, and started counting out the coin there and then.
Just like that? Well, I heard about him. He's a right skinflint. And what did Betty have to say?
She was pleased, as you can imagine. Even more when I told her Tonda will take everything she makes.
That's great. A bit of extra coin never hurts.
One ale over here, please.
A tanker there.
Kita tuh.
Where you going?
Here.
One beer.
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
Ale as usual.
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh. I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
One beer for me.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ужице, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noyo? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our LÜBOШ, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, And that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
To the women! God bless them.
Oh, you're just making excuses. The people who say the church is corrupt are right. You don't care about anyone, only your own comfort.
I'm sorry you see it that way. Really sorry. You've no idea how wrong you are.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ужице isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison. And nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning.
Where can I find out more about it?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons.
What do the common folk think of?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say it. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people...
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj panu desej smutek do dnie, no i rano utek, dzieci majstra, do wczorajszylne staje brak. Użce i moi słaby murzy, nie chciałby bejbie i chudzi. Na jedno, a tacy damy jedno, a może lepszy hubi jako poslednie. Murkę se bawi, panorama stawi, a tak wypasuje, a postać se sen, tak postać se sen, a ty pal jeden. Ukaż kozy, jako kozy, zejdraje, tu są lejden, tak dalej mychne, a to ci se zje.
Enough of this! Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Писать умею только я. Так это он написал, что ли, или нет? На стене.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Так, секунду.
No kurwa.
So, my dear, wouldn't you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry too, I'm sure.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
У него там какая-то работа была. Я надеюсь, квест не провалится.
Come here.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Meh.
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose as Sir Radzig's protege, you just came from studying in Prague, and you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look, from what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosha's cronies are.
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do, exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
Да уж, много всего тут было, но давайте остальное отдельном видео выложим.